Nothing in life can truly defeat you, unless you misunderstand the rules of human behavior. Most people don't fail because the world is cruel. They fail because they assume it works differently than it really does. Today, I'll reveal Machiavelli's most powerful lessons, insights that cut through illusions and give you clarity in a world where predictability is punished. Picture this. A middle-aged man sits in his truck in Houston, Texas, just after being laid off from his oil job. He whispers into the phone to his wife, "I don't understand. I did everything they asked." But the truth, he was predictable. He played safe. And in the modern world, just like in Renaissance Florence, that often leads not to reward, but to irrelevance. By the end of this video, you'll see why some rise and others remain stuck. You'll learn the 9 Machiavellian principles that have stayed relevant for over 500 years. Drop this in the comments to start. I control my destiny. Principle 1. The illusion of weakness. Most people enter the world with a script already written for them. Be nice. Be agreeable. Do what's asked of you and wait your turn. From the first day of school, the pattern is set. The obedient child gets the gold star. The polite student gets a pat on the head. The hard-working employee gets a handshake and maybe a plaque after decades of service. But Machiavelli would have laughed at this illusion. He saw 500 years ago that the world does not reward blind obedience. It rewards strategy, adaptability, and strength. Think about the corporate world in America today. In a Chicago office, there's always that one worker, the yes man. He stays late, never complains, always covers for others. He believes that loyalty and sacrifice will guarantee recognition. But look closely. After years of bending, where is he? Still in the same chair, still waiting for someone to notice. Meanwhile, the colleague who is bolder, who negotiates, who sometimes says no, who positions himself strategically, moves up. Machiavelli wrote, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is much safer to be feared than loved." He wasn't encouraging cruelty. He was pointing out a truth. Predictability is dangerous. When you are entirely predictable, when people know you'll always comply, always accept, always give, they stop valuing you. You become invisible. This is the illusion of weakness, the belief that effort alone guarantees reward, that fairness is automatic, that patience is always noble. But the world doesn't hand out prizes for quiet endurance. It rewards those who understand human behavior and refuse to let others write their story. So what does this mean for you? It doesn't mean becoming ruthless. It means refusing to confuse passivity with virtue. It means learning to say no without guilt. It means daring to act when others hesitate. It means realizing that strength is not selfish. It is necessary. If you've ever felt overlooked, remember this. The problem is not that you worked too hard. The problem is that you made yourself predictable. Break that pattern, and you'll discover a new kind of freedom, the freedom to act with clarity, the freedom to command respect. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see the world as it is. Principle 2. See through human nature. The greatest trap in human relationships is not betrayal, it is misreading. Most of us don't get hurt because people suddenly turned evil. We get hurt because we assumed they were like us. We projected our values onto them. We believed loyalty meant the same thing to them as it did to us. That illusion is what Machiavelli warned against. He wrote, People are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. What he meant is simple. People act in their own interest. That doesn't make them villains. It makes them human. And the one who understands this gains power. The one who refuses to see it stays weak. Take Silicon Valley as an example. A young founder believes his investors are mentors, even friends. They share laughs over coffee. They talk about vision and legacy. But when the company starts losing money, the same friends suddenly turn cold. They push for a sale, force the founder out, and protect their capital. Cruel? Maybe. Predictable? Absolutely. Because their loyalty was never to the founder. It was to their interests. Or think about personal life. A man in New York believes his closest friend will always back him up. Yet when that friend gets a better opportunity, a new circle, a chance to climb socially, he drifts away. Not because he is evil, but because his priorities shifted. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Every person you meet is guided by their needs, their fears, their ambitions. Sometimes they align with yours, sometimes they don't. The mistake is assuming they always will. Here is the Machiavellian advantage. When you stop projecting, you start observing. You pay attention not just to words, but to actions. You notice patterns. Who only calls when they need something? Who offers help when it benefits them? Who stays silent when it costs them nothing? Instead of being disappointed, you treat this as information. You build your strategy on reality, not illusion. Does this mean you must distrust everyone? No. It means you trust selectively. You give wisely. You love, but with awareness. You cooperate, but without blindness. That balance is power. Because when you see people clearly, you're never caught off guard. So, the next time someone lets you down, pause before calling it betrayal. Ask instead, what did this reveal about them? What need, what fear, what priority guided their choice? That answer is far more useful than anger. The world doesn't punish those who see clearly. It punishes those who cling to illusions. Break free from projection. Learn to see human nature as it is, not as you wish it to be. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see clearly now. Principle 3. Control your reactions. Power is rarely lost in the grand failures. It is lost in the little cracks. Those moments when you reveal too much of yourself through your reactions. Most people think strength is about winning arguments or proving themselves right. Machiavelli would disagree. He would say strength lies in how you control what others see of you, especially when pressure mounts. Think about politics in America. When a scandal breaks, some politicians rush to the cameras, voices raised, desperate to defend themselves. They over-explain, they panic, they look weak. Others, however, stay silent at first. They let the storm rage, then respond calmly, strategically, at the right moment. Who appears stronger? Not the one who shouted the loudest, but the one who projected composure. Machiavelli once wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." That's the essence of reaction control. People may never see your true thoughts or feelings, but they will judge you by the image you project when you are tested. If you crumble under stress, they assume you lack discipline. If you lash out in anger, they assume you lack control. If you defend yourself too quickly, they assume you're guilty, even if you're not. Now think about everyday life. You're driving in Los Angeles traffic. Someone cuts you off. Do you explode in anger, leaning on the horn, shouting into the void? Or do you stay calm, move forward, and maintain control of yourself? That small choice tells the world far more about your strength than you realize. Control doesn't mean repression. It doesn't mean becoming robotic. It means using your emotions strategically, choosing when to reveal them and when to hold them back. Show patience when it earns you influence. Show kindness when it builds trust. Show firmness when it sets boundaries. But never hand over your power by reacting impulsively. Here's a practical exercise. The next time someone criticizes you, pause. Count to 3 before you speak. In those 3 seconds, you transform the dynamic. Instead of appearing defensive, you appear deliberate. Instead of looking insecure, you look in control. That pause is your shield, and often your sword. Machiavelli understood that perception is reality. If you control your reactions, you control perception. And if you control perception, you control the game. True power is not about never feeling anger or fear. It's about deciding when, how, and if the world ever sees it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose my response. Principle 4. Respect and boundaries. Respect is never given freely. It is earned, and it is reinforced by boundaries. Most people fail in this area because they confuse being liked with being respected. They assume that if they are kind enough, available enough, and generous enough, people will naturally appreciate them. But Machiavelli saw through that illusion. He warned that love and obligation are fragile, easily broken when self-interest intervenes. Fear, or in modern terms, respect, lasts longer because it rests on clear consequences. Think about the workplace. A manager in San Francisco bends over backwards for his team. He stays late, covers their mistakes, sacrifices his weekends. At first, people thank him, but over time, they stop noticing. They expect it. Gratitude fades, and his endless giving becomes invisible. Contrast that with another leader, firm but fair. She sets clear expectations, rewards results, and refuses to tolerate repeated excuses. Her team may not always like her, but they respect her. They show up on time. They deliver. They know where the line is drawn. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is preserved by the link of obligation, which is broken whenever it serves advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails." In today's world, fear doesn't have to mean terror. It means clarity. It means people understand you cannot be exploited without consequence. Think about sports. Bill Belichick, the legendary coach of the New England Patriots, isn't known for warm hugs or constant praise. He is known for standards. Players respect him because they know exactly what is expected and what will not be tolerated. His firmness creates discipline, and discipline builds success. Here's how you can apply this in your own life. Say no without guilt. A boundary is weakened every time you over-explain it. Step back when your time isn't valued. Canceling on you repeatedly, they lose access to you. Refuse one-sided relationships. If someone constantly takes without giving, pull back. Boundaries don't mean hostility. They mean self-respect. When others realize you won't be endlessly available, they adjust. They start valuing your presence because scarcity breeds respect. The person who tries to please everyone ends up pleasing no one. The person who sets harsh, arbitrary rules ends up isolated. But the one who combines fairness with firmness commands both respect and loyalty. That balance is power. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I command respect naturally. Principle 5. Turn setbacks into insight. Most people treat disappointment as defeat. They take it personally, replay it endlessly, and allow it to drain their energy. But Machiavelli would say you've just been handed something valuable: information. Every setback is a revelation. It tells you who people really are, what they value, and how they behave when pressure rises. Machiavelli wrote, "People reveal themselves most when they think they are safe. When someone believes there are no consequences, when they think the spotlight is off, their true character surfaces. That moment, painful as it may be, is intelligence." Consider business partnerships. In New York, a young entrepreneur pours his energy into building a company with a trusted partner. But when the first wave of financial trouble hits, that partner disappears, ghosting calls, avoiding responsibility, protecting only his own interests. Painful? Absolutely. But now the entrepreneur knows the truth. He doesn't just lose a partner, he gains clarity about the type of person he was dealing with. That knowledge will shape better decisions in the future, or take relationships. A woman in Dallas goes through a breakup and feels devastated. Yet if she steps back, she can see the signs: promises broken, words not matching actions, respect eroding slowly. The breakup doesn't just end something, it reveals what she ignored. Next time, she'll trust patterns over empty assurances. The weak linger on betrayal. The strong extract the lesson. Ask yourself, what did this reveal about their priorities? What does it say about their loyalty under pressure? What patterns can I now predict? These answers are worth far more than anger. This doesn't mean paranoia. It means pattern recognition. If someone shows you that they are only loyal when it's convenient, believe them. If someone reveals that their kindness comes with hidden motives, note it. If someone proves they will abandon you when things get tough, expect it again. Here is the power. When you treat setbacks as intelligence, you grow stronger over time. Each disappointment sharpens your judgment. Each betrayal fortifies your boundaries. Each failure becomes an investment in future wisdom. Machiavelli knew that leaders who ignored red flags eventually collapsed, but those who learned from every slight, every betrayal, became unshakable. So the next time you face a setback, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask instead, "What does this teach me?" That shift in mindset turns loss into leverage. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Setbacks teach me. Principle 6. Detachment. Neediness is the silent killer of power. The moment you show that you must have something, approval, money, a relationship, you hand control to others. Machiavelli understood this clearly. He saw that dependence breeds vulnerability, and vulnerability invites exploitation. The one who can walk away is always stronger than the one who clings. Think about the modern workplace. 2 employees face layoffs in a tech company in Seattle. One has savings, multiple skills, and contacts in other firms. He doesn't want to lose his job, but if it happens, he's prepared. The other has no backup plan, no savings, no network. Who has leverage in negotiations? Who walks into the meeting with calm confidence? The one who needs nothing. Detachment does not mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop caring about success or relationships. It means you care without dependence. You invest in people, but you don't collapse if they walk away. You work hard, but you don't tie your entire identity to a single role. You pursue success, but you don't panic if fortune shifts. Machiavelli wrote, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation." In other words, clinging to ideals or desired outcomes blinds you to reality. Detachment frees you to see clearly, act strategically, and make choices from strength, not desperation. Consider relationships. A man in Los Angeles dates with confidence because he knows his worth does not depend on any single woman's approval. If she stays, it's by choice, not by fear. If she leaves, he remains whole. Contrast this with the man who chases, who compromises endlessly, who cannot imagine being alone. The detached man is respected. The needy man is dismissed. How do you cultivate this power? Build options. Never rely on a single source of income, validation, or security. Options create freedom. Develop internal worth. Your skills, discipline, and achievements become armor no one can strip away. Practice walking away. Decline deals that insult your value. Leave relationships that drain your spirit. Each time you walk away, you prove to yourself you are free. The paradox is this: when you no longer need, you attract. When you no longer cling, you command. Detachment doesn't weaken bonds, it strengthens them, because people respect those who stay by choice, not by desperation. True freedom begins the moment you can look at any outcome and say, "I'll be fine, no matter what." That is when you stop negotiating from weakness and start living from strength. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am freely powerful. Principle 7. Silence and mystery. In a noisy world, silence is a weapon. Most people think influence comes from constant visibility, endless talking, or oversharing every thought. But Machiavelli knew the opposite was true. He warned that the more predictable and transparent you are, the easier you are to control. Mystery creates respect. Silence creates weight. Consider Steve Jobs. He didn't leak every idea or hold weekly press conferences about his plans. He cultivated mystery. Apple events became legendary precisely because no one knew what was coming. The silence before the reveal built anticipation and power. Had he spoken too much, the impact would have vanished. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." When you withhold, when you choose not to reveal everything, people lean in. They speculate. They respect the unknown. The less they know, the more they imagine. And often, their imagination is far more powerful than the truth. Think about everyday life in America. In an office, one employee constantly explains himself. Every decision, every mistake, followed by paragraphs of justification. He thinks he looks honest, but in reality he looks insecure. Another employee speaks less. When he does, people listen. His words carry weight not because they are louder, but because they are rarer. This is the paradox. The more you talk, the less power your words hold. The less you reveal, the more control you have over how others perceive you. Here's how to practice silence and mystery. Stop explaining to those who didn't ask. You don't owe a justification for every choice. Keep your plans private until solid. Let actions speak, not promises. Embrace pauses. A comfortable silence unsettles the insecure and elevates the composed. Consider negotiation. In a high-stakes deal in New York, silence is often the tactic that wins. The side that can wait without filling the room with words forces the other to reveal more, to justify, to concede. Silence shifts the balance of power. This doesn't mean becoming antisocial. You can still be friendly, approachable, and engaging. The key is intentionality. Share enough to connect, but never so much that people can map your entire mind. Machiavelli would remind you, predictable people are expendable. Mysterious people are respected. When others don't know your every move, they hesitate. They watch. They adapt to you instead of the other way around. Power is not always in what you say. Sometimes it's in what you withhold. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Mystery is power. Principle 8. Boldness shapes fortune. Fortune does not wait for the hesitant. Machiavelli observed this centuries ago, and it remains true in America today. Those who act boldly often succeed where the cautious hesitate. He wrote, "I hold it to be true that fortune is the arbiter of half our actions, but that she still leaves us to direct the other half. Half is luck, but the other half is yours." Think about Elon Musk and SpaceX. After 3 rocket failures, most investors wanted to walk away. Logic said the company was doomed, yet Musk doubled down, pouring his remaining resources into one more launch. That bold step changed history. Without it, private space travel would still be a fantasy. Boldness turned near ruin into triumph. Or look at American history. During the Civil Rights Movement, countless people waited for the right time. But leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. knew waiting was another form of surrender. Bold marches, bold speeches, bold resistance. They carried risk, but also reshaped the nation. This is the lesson. Waiting for perfect conditions is a trap. Perfect conditions rarely exist. Those who hesitate lose momentum. Those who act, calculated, decisive, shape their own fortune. But boldness is not recklessness. Machiavelli never praised foolish risk. The bold man considers the worst-case scenario, prepares for it, and then moves anyway. He accepts that all progress carries risk, but he refuses to be paralyzed by it. Here's how to cultivate boldness. Start small. Ask for opportunities that stretch you, not crush you. Build confidence like a muscle. Assess the risks. If the worst outcome is survivable, the move is often worth taking. Act decisively. Once you've chosen, commit. Hesitation breeds doubt in others and weakness in yourself. Learn from outcomes. Not every bold move will succeed, but each attempt teaches lessons that caution never will. Imagine 2 entrepreneurs in San Francisco. One spends years fine-tuning his business plan, waiting for the perfect market conditions. The other launches, stumbles, adapts, and grows. Which one ends up ahead? The bold one. Because reality rewards action, not endless preparation. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to those who dare. He knew fortune is like a river. It floods unpredictably. But those who build channels for it, who act boldly, benefit from its force. In your own life, boldness might mean negotiating for a raise, starting the project you've delayed, or walking into the opportunity others think is too risky. Hesitation keeps you in place. Boldness moves you forward. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I create my fortune. Principle 9. Build an untouchable identity. Reputation is armor. It protects you in ways money, charm, or temporary success never can. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He warned that appearances shape perception, and perception shapes power. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. That means the identity you project is as important as the reality behind it. In America's business world, reputation often decides opportunity. Think about Warren Buffett. Investors don't just trust him because he's wealthy. They trust him because for decades he's been consistent, disciplined, and reliable. His reputation opens doors no amount of negotiation could. That's what it means to build an untouchable identity. But here's the hard truth. You cannot fake this forever. You cannot simply act confident without discipline to back it. You cannot pretend to be reliable while constantly breaking promises. Sooner or later, reality catches up. That's why Machiavelli emphasized self-mastery. To project strength, you must first embody it. Building an untouchable identity begins with self-awareness. Know your strengths, admit your weaknesses, understand your patterns. If you don't know yourself, others will define you on their terms. Next comes self-discipline. Show up when you say you will. Keep the promises you make, especially to yourself. Discipline builds trust, trust builds respect, and respect builds influence. Finally, cultivate self-reliance. Don't depend on others for your happiness or sense of worth. Don't wait for permission to take action. The more you can stand on your own judgment, the harder it is for anyone to control you. Think of the Navy SEALs. Their identity isn't built on talk. It's built on relentless training, on discipline that turns ordinary men into unbreakable operators. That reputation alone inspires both fear and respect. People don't challenge a Navy SEAL lightly, not because of words, but because of the proven identity behind them. Now, apply this to your own life. Maybe you're an artist in Los Angeles, a teacher in Atlanta, or a business owner in Denver. Your untouchable identity is built the same way, through consistency, reliability, and principle. When people know you as the person who always follows through, who stands firm on values, who can't be manipulated, you become untouchable. This doesn't mean isolation. You still connect, collaborate, and build relationships. But you engage from strength, not dependency. People admire you, respect you, and want to be around you, not because you need them, but because you don't. Machiavelli knew that when identity is strong, external attacks fail. They cannot undermine what is consistent. They cannot destroy what is disciplined. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unstoppable. Closing, the Machiavellian choice. You've now walked through 9 principles that Machiavelli observed centuries ago, but that remain brutally relevant in today's world. These are not theories. They are patterns. They are truths of human behavior that most people ignore, hoping the world is kinder, simpler, fairer than it really is. But the world does not reward illusions. It rewards clarity, strength, and courage. Let's revisit what you've learned. You saw in Principle 1, the illusion of weakness, that blind obedience is not virtue. It is a trap. The worker who says yes to everything, the friend who never sets boundaries, the partner who waits endlessly for recognition. These are the people who fade into the background. Machiavelli exposed this centuries ago, and the modern world proves him right. Predictability is punished. Strategy is rewarded. You learned in Principle 2, see through human nature, that projection blinds us. We get hurt not because people are evil, but because we assumed they were just like us. The moment you stop projecting and start observing, you stop being disappointed and start being strategic. In Principle 3, control your reactions, you discovered the power of composure. In traffic, in politics, in business, those who lash out look weak. Those who pause, observe, and respond with intention command respect. Control of reaction is control of perception. And perception, Machiavelli reminds us, is often reality. Principle 4, respect and boundaries, revealed the balance between being liked and being respected. Endless kindness without limits leads to invisibility. Harshness without fairness leads to isolation. True influence lies in setting consistent boundaries, in being firm yet fair. That's how leaders, coaches, and mentors command both respect and loyalty. Principle 5, turn setbacks into insight, taught you that every disappointment is data. Betrayal, failure, rejection. They are intelligence reports about human nature. The weak linger on the pain, the strong record the lesson, adjust, and grow wiser. With Principle 6, Detachment, you discovered freedom. The man who can walk away, who has options, who doesn't tie his identity to a single outcome, he cannot be controlled. Neediness is slavery. Detachment is liberation. In Principle 7, Silence and Mystery, you saw that power is not always in speech. Oversharing erodes influence. Mystery multiplies it. The quiet man at the table often holds the most control. Machiavelli knew that what is unseen is often more respected than what is paraded in the open. Principle 8, Boldness Shapes Fortune, revealed that hesitation is paralysis. Perfect conditions never arrive. The bold act, calculate, and move. They may stumble, but they shape their destiny. Fortune, as Machiavelli wrote, gives you half. The other half is yours to seize. And finally, Principle 9, build an untouchable identity, showed you that reputation is armor. Appearances matter, but appearances backed by discipline become unbreakable. Self-awareness, self-discipline, and self-reliance forge a person no storm can shatter. Now here is the truth. Knowing these principles is not enough. Reading Machiavelli, nodding at his brilliance, repeating affirmations in the comments. None of that will change your life. Action will. Practice will. Embodying these principles daily will. So ask yourself, will you keep clinging to the illusion that effort alone guarantees success? Or will you see that the world respects strategy more than sacrifice? Will you project your values onto others and live in disappointment? Or will you observe them clearly, act accordingly, and stay one step ahead? Will you keep reacting impulsively, exposing your insecurity? Or will you pause, choose your response, and control the narrative? Will you let people exploit your kindness? Or will you establish boundaries that make respect inevitable? Will you waste time replaying betrayals? Or will you turn setbacks into intelligence? Will you keep needing, begging, clinging? Or will you detach, build options, and walk with freedom? Will you overshare and weaken yourself? Or will you embrace mystery and let silence amplify your influence? Will you hesitate until opportunity is gone? Or will you act boldly, knowing fortune favors the decisive? Will you live as a shadow of yourself? Or will you build an untouchable identity that commands respect wherever you go? These are the choices that shape your life. Machiavelli did not invent them. He observed them. He gave us the blueprint, but the blueprint is worthless unless you build. Resilience is not inherited. Influence is not given. Power is not handed out. They are earned through clarity, through discipline, through courage to see the world as it is and act accordingly. So I leave you with this. Nothing can hold you back if you understand these principles and have the courage to apply them. Your future is not determined by chance, but by the choices you make starting now. If this message opened your eyes, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. The world is full of people lost in illusions, but you don't have to be one of them. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am empowered and unstoppable. The blueprint is in your hands. The choice is yours. Make it count.